Hey everyone, welcome back to Techniques of the Week. Today is Tuesdays You Can Use Days. We'll be talking about positive self talk and positive affirmations. So, again, positive self talk or affirmations. We'll talk about that after a quick check in. We'll go through negative self talk, positive self talk, climbing the ladder, and scheduled practice today. And then, as usual, a challenge and the best ways to get in touch with me. Quick check in, some good news. Hadley's lip is just about all healed up. I don't know if you guys remember, but she split it open pretty deep to the point where we thought about maybe going to the hospital, but she's been doing okay and it's all healed up. Media review. If I sound a little different today, it's because I purchased Amazon Basics gamer headset. And so I have these big earphones on now and a microphone. And I'm going to see if I like the way I sound better with this or if just going with the regular computer is better. I'm hoping that it's a little bit clearer and maybe muffles out some background noise. Random fact related to today's topic, defending a statement, no matter how crazy the statement is, makes you more likely to believe it. So if you were trying to convince somebody else that the sun rises in the west or something else crazy like that, the harder you try and the harder you defend that statement, the more likely you are to believe it or believe parts of it. So, getting started with negative self talk, these are things that pop into our head without an invitation. So, when we get something wrong, or when we don't feel good about ourselves, or when we compare ourselves to others, these negative thoughts can often just kind of creep in, and the thoughts usually end up with us saying something negative to ourselves. We say them without even thinking most of the time, and if we were to hear a friend or somebody else that we care about say them, we would want to help. And that's the same thing that happens when somebody hears us engage in negative self talk. On the other hand, we have positive self talk or positive affirmations. These are the things that we can say to ourselves to help us make us feel strong, help us to feel brave, or remind us that we can make mistakes. And these are usually things that we like about ourselves. Things that are also usually stable or things that don't change very much over time. And these can be things that are very general or things that are incredibly specific. So if you look at the examples to the left here, being happy is pretty general. Something that might be very specific is I am a really good leader when it comes to playing Foursquare or something like that. So I've just put up some example affirmations here. This is slide 1 of 3. I'm going to read them out and just as I go through, see if any of these feel like things that you could take on as your own positive self-talk or positive affirmation. So I might have some faults, but I am still a good person. I care about myself and other people. I accept who I am. I love myself. I am good and nobody's perfect. A little typo there. I'm becoming a better person every day. And I am a sensitive person who experiences the world differently. Slide 2 of 3. Each day I do the best I can. Even though I've made some mistakes, I'm still a good person. I've made it through some tough times. I can handle a lot. I can't always control how I feel, but I am in control of how I act. I have struggled sometimes, but it is what helps make me strong. And my life has a purpose, even though it is hard sometimes. And I'm going to give away my positive affirmations. So when I was a sophomore in high school, I took Mr. Brimmer. He was my geometry teacher, and I have to say it that way because it's ingrained in my mind. But he taught the whole class to say 5 positive affirmations before every test. And we had a test every week. So I got pretty used to saying my positive affirmations. What I didn't expect when I was a sophomore in high school was that those would stick with me to this day. So ever since I was, 15 years old, I have said these before every major exam or test. And so I'll tell you what they are. They start off really pretty general and they get more and more specific as we go down. So it starts off with I am Joe Viscotchel. I have a family that loves and cares for me. I will have a positive life no matter what happens on this exam. I have made it this far in my education and will make it as far as I choose to push. And I am going to rock this opportunity. So those are mine. This is why I think that positive self-talk or positive affirmations can be so powerful. When I first was practicing these at age 15, I thought it was a bunch of malarkey, but they really have stuck with me this whole time since then, and I really do believe that they work. So, climbing the ladder, this is all about knowing that it's really, really hard to replace an automatic negative statement with a positive one. I think about it like jumping from the very lowest part of your house all the way up onto the very top of your roof. That's very hard to do. It's hard to go from such a negative statement to such a positive one. So what we can do is try to climb a ladder or try to get little steps in place so that we're not going from all the way down at the very lowest to all the way up at the very tip top. So what we can do is bring up statements that are a little bit less negative and a little bit more positive. And then as we keep going and as we start practicing those more and more, we can make those even more positive. But the point is that you don't have to go from all the way negative to all the way positive if that's too hard. So I've got some examples. Yeah, I'm not too good at this, am I? Is one. Well, that's unfortunate. That's one that I stole from a buddy I play basketball with. Anytime he missed a shot, instead of saying shoot or gosh, I'm terrible, he would just say, oh, that's unfortunate. And I thought that was pretty cool. And then another one, man, I really want to be less terrible. So again, these aren't necessarily positive statements, but they're just a way that we can start to reframe and redirect from being so negative to approach being a little bit less negative and maybe even more positive. So negative self-talk is an evil genius. It really doesn't come with any sort of invitation. We often don't even notice that we're doing it. It comes into our days without our noticing it. It's a lot harder to use positive self-talk or positive affirmations on a regular basis. So what we can do is use a schedule to start making them more automatic. With my positive affirmations, you guys know I did those before every exam or every test. On my first slide here, I had a picture of Karl Malone. And most of you young people might not know this, but Karl Malone used to say a little thing to himself before he shot every free throw. And he actually was one of the better free throw shooters, especially for a power forward or a bigger fella. And I believe he does still hold the record for most free throws made in the NBA. So whatever he would say to himself before shooting those free throws must have worked. You can also do this before general activities like tying your shoes or unbuckling your seatbelts. I see this a lot for kids with anxiety or people that might feel uncertain about something. When you're doing those activities, it sort of gears you up. So I'm unbuckling the seatbelt, meaning I'm going to get out of the car, I'm going to go somewhere, I'm going to do something, and I want to, have a really positive frame of mind. You could also do it at certain times of the day, first thing in the morning, or right before you go to bed at night. It would be nice if you do them right before you go to bed. That might influence how you sleep, right? If you go to bed thinking about how positive you are or some of the great things that you have, that might help you fall asleep and it might help you stay asleep, or if you're going to have dreams, it might even influence your dreams to be a little bit more positive too. So my challenge for you guys today is to come up with as many positive affirmations as years you are old. So I am 33, which means I would have a lot of work to do. I would have to come up with 33 affirmations. If you're 9, though, you would only have to come up with 9 positive self-talk statements. Write this list down and leave it where you can see it throughout the week, every day. So write it down on a piece of paper or maybe on a mirror or whatever works for you. If you've got a phone, you can do a phone. And then choose a time to say them out loud to yourself at least once a day. At the end of the week, choose the top 5. So for me, if I had 33, that would be a lot of statements. So I would want to pick the ones that are most effective for me. And those are the ones that I would be able to say every day, and they'd be like, oh yeah, makes me feel a little bit more positive. So find your top 5 and make that your ultimate affirmation list. And that's it for today. The best way to contact me, and I hope to hear from you guys soon. Take care.